Hi class, in this video, I'm going over your benchmark assignment, science/health unit plan. So for this assignment, you're going to be creating a 3-day unit related to a science and health lesson using the NGSS standards or your state standards, either in the physical, life, or earth and space sciences. And then you also want to have one health lesson for the 3-lesson unit. In other words, identify both a science and health standard for your 3-day plan. The health is not as important to me when I'm grading because typically teachers are teaching who are elementary teachers or middle school teachers typically don't teach physical, PE, or health, but you do typically teach science. So put most of the work in that science area and you can incorporate health as you see fit. And it doesn't have to fit in every day or every part. It could just be you're incorporating some of the movement or things like that that makes sense. All right. So for this benchmark assignment, this is your high scoring assignment worth 300 points. So make sure to take your time on this. Now you're going to want to use the template that they have posted over here for us, the 3-day template. You also want to use the class profile. I'm not seeing the class profile over here for you. Not sure where they put it now that we switched over to Halo. Interesting. We'll make sure to post it in the announcements just in case. Oh, there it is at the bottom. Okay, there's the class profile. Sorry about that. At the very bottom. So you want to use that class profile so you know which students are pretend in your class. Now you have the template over here. So I want to talk to you about this template. So when I open this template up, you can see that it has, the lesson plan template for 3 days, but it's not 5E. It's multiple means of representation, multiple means of engagement, and multiple means of expression, not matching the 5E model that we've been learning about. So you do not have to use this template if you don't want to. You can use the one I created, which I post in the weekly announcement. And mine is essentially the same thing, except for I have all 5Es. All 5Es here for you. I'm not sure when they planned the class why they chose to not go with the 5E model. I don't love that. So I offer for you guys to do this assignment using my template instead, because as we've learned in the course, the 5E model is really the model to use when you're teaching science or inquiry-based instruction. And so adapting what you've learned to the other model might be tricky. Plus, some of the assignments you did can be used to create your unit plan. So if you created the 5E templates, this model template around a standard, you can use this standard for your benchmark. So I might choose this standard and then go into, instead of using this template, I might use the one that Ms. Pearson created. So it's up to you what you want to do. When you're looking at your template, you're going to see you got to identify the standard. You can have the same standard across 3 days, like my standard. Oh, that wasn't my standard. I thought I hit copy, but my standard, which is here. Let me try to copy again. It's a big standard. Planning and conducting investigations. I might use that all 3 days. It is okay to copy paste over 3 days. That's what we do. We take weeks sometimes to teach one standard. Don't forget to include a health standard somewhere in these 3 days. Learning targets, on the other hand, vary by day. So think about your standard as being that big overarching goal you're working towards. And the learning target is very specific to what they're going to learn by the end of that one day or that one lesson. So on here, students might just conduct investigations to figure out that the sounds are vibrating, kind of going off some of the things that I did on my 5E template. The next day, they might plan their own investigation on how they can figure out that vibration is causing things. And then the last day, they might apply it by explaining how they could create or engineer something. So I might have an engineering standard here where they engineer their own instruments or something along those lines. When you're filling it in, just make sure that you are being specific to your standard. So when we think about assessment, just don't say they're going to take a quiz. Tell me what you're assessing on that quiz. Quiz to show students know that vibrations are caused by sound. Ooh, good spelling there. So this should be connected to that. I like to see your learning objective connected to your assessment. Those two things. So if you say they're going to demonstrate something, you can do that. Or you can say, look at students science journals for evidence that they understood vibrations or sound is caused by vibrations. So you really want to be specific to your objective. Okay, now you'll tell me whatever materials you'll need for the day, the academic language that they'll need for the day, how you'll teach that academic language. And then there's a section for differentiation. How are you going to differentiate your instruction? Think about things you can do to change for ELLs, special education. For example, I'm going to post a picture word bank, or I'm going to include visuals for the students. Then the activities they're doing, how are you going to differentiate for that? So maybe you give them a sentence frame to use when they're doing turns and talks, or they have a graphic organizer they're going to use. And then how will you differentiate assessment? Now, when you look at the other template, it has just a little bit different there. They have many of those same things I just showed you, but their differentiation comes under each section. So under multiple means of representation, which would be the teaching, multiple means of engagement, which would be the activities, and then multiple means of expression, which would be the assessment. So you can see it has the same components in the template that I created compared to theirs, but they're just organized a little bit differently. And then you'll just go in and tell me the 3 days of instruction, not 5 days of instruction, and describe it. It shouldn't just be I will lecture or something as basic as that. I want you to paint a picture in my head of what this looks like. I do have exemplars I will post in the announcement for you to look at so you can see exactly what I'm looking for. But I want to know step by step, how are you going to engage students? So I will show a YouTube video, and then maybe I have the video linked. Then ask students, what sounds did they hear? If you've been watching my videos throughout this entire course, you'll go, oh yeah, that totally makes sense. She talked about that on her template. Right here, I will have them listen to a clip of the orchestra. And then when I planned my questions, what sounds do you hear? So I've already thought through some of these things. I just don't have 3 days of instruction. I'm going to have to carry this over for 3 days of instruction. So I want that specificity. So it's clear how I'm working on my objective. I want it step by step. So any person could pick up this plan and go teach your unit plan tomorrow. If you don't tell me the specifics, just show a lecture, I can't teach your plan. I don't know what you're lecturing. After you do all of the sections, whatever template you choose to use, you have a reflection that you need to do. So for the reflection, hold on. Oh, does this one have a reflection? Yes. Oh, yes, right there. In 250 to 500 words, rationalize your choices in developing the plan. So how did designing instruction include physical activity to support a healthy lifestyle? So this is where that health is going to come in. Like I said, it's not one of those things that I'm super worried about, but they want you to think about it. So, I didn't really think about health when I thought about my sound. I didn't really think about health when I was doing this. So maybe on day 3, maybe they'll create their instruments using the engineering design process. But for my elaborate, maybe I'll have them create a dance. Create a dance to go with, how about create a song and dance, because we have instruments. Song and dance to go, and then song and dance with their instruments to promote movement. So something along those lines. So now I'm embedding some health in here. I hadn't really thought about how it could be incorporated, but I'm going to look at those health standards and make sure that I have something about movement or health. And so this is where you'll justify that. So it's not just a health part in your rationale. It's also your choices in developing the plan. So there's 2 parts there. You want to include, like I decided to have them create musical instruments because that was a good way to get apply their knowledge about vibrations and use the engineering design process. So you'll talk about all those things and then also talk about the physical movement and health to make up that 250 to 500 words. Let's go ahead and take a peek at the rubric to so you know how you'll be graded. Ooh, this rubric's a big one. It's got a lot of graded areas. So first, your lesson titles, summary, grouping. Make sure this is where that class profile comes in. I want you to say, I have 5 ELL students, 4 IEPs, and this is how I'm going to support them. Then we have our standards and objectives. I'm looking for alignment between those 2 things. Your academic language and your strategies for teaching them. Your materials or technology. The questions that you have. And then your anticipatory set. In the 5E model, that's your engage, multiple means of representation. That actually is your explain, because you explain it, the order comes different. Engagement is your explore and your elaborate. Oh, your explore, sorry. Expression is your evaluate, and then extension is your elaborate. And then your rationale is also graded here. Let's see, just a little further. And then the organization of your rationale is also graded 15 points, and then mechanics to total 300 points. If you have any questions as you're working through this assignment, don't hesitate to reach out. Also know that using activities that you find on the internet is absolutely okay. I didn't come up with all these ideas when it comes to sound. These are things that I've read about from websites. How do you teach sound? Oh, creating an instrument, that's a great idea. So I pulled those ideas when I was planning as a teacher from other places. So just cite that. I got this activity from, I don't know, education.com, and put that citation in there so we know where it came from. Lots of teachers pull activities from the internet, and that is okay. But what you're demonstrating is you know how to take those activities and turn them into a 3-day plan, not copying the 3 days from somewhere else, but just pulling different resources and getting ideas from different places and then putting them together to create a cohesive plan. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. I look forward to reading your unit plans.